Hello, welcome back to the Benjamin and Jack film podcast. It's not going to be a normal episode because we don't have Benjamin with us, so it'll be me and George. Um, so our two films today will be Nouvelle Vague by Richard Linklater and Is This Thing On, directed by Bradley Cooper. Is This Thing On is about the making of Breathless, and just the whole production of that and how New Wave became a thing. And I watched this at the Belfast Film Festival in November, so my review will not be as in depth, but that's where George will come in. I liked it. I really did. I thought the acting was good. I liked the cinematography. I found the film funny. It's really funny. If I could describe it, it's kind of like a better Saturday Night is it Jason Reitman? I can't remember who directed it, but Saturday Night with Cooper Hoffman and Rachel Sennett from 2024. It really reminded me of that at times, just with the way it's all filmed and all. And how everything fucks up in the end. I think you can see Linklater's love for the New Wave, and just seeing the passion he put into this was just amazing. I really did enjoy it, and I think it's one of my favorite Linklaters. I love Breathless, so I really did enjoy all the Easter eggs and stuff, and just seeing everything. I do need to get into New Wave. I've only seen Breathless, so I'm not the best person. I'm going to pass it on to George now, and he will talk about it.
I swear to God, this is like the 27th take. I have these notes. I'm going to speed run through them. Here we go. Richard Linklater is back, and so am I. Thank you very much to Benjamin and Jack for letting me back on once again to discuss a Richard Linklater film. This time it's Nouvelle Vague, which hit Irish and UK cinemas last Friday. And I'm going to talk about it because not only is this another masterpiece that Linklater brought us in 2025, it also fits into the subcategory in Linklater's filmography where these, profound, personal, passion projects, like the Before trilogy and Boyhood, and most recently Blue Moon, where he's really just working at the height of his powers for me. And, Zoe Deutsch, long-time collaborator, giving a performance that's as committed as what Gene Seberg gave in Breathless, as well as the phenomenal performances from Guillaume Marek and Aubrey Dillon playing Jean-Luc Godard and Jean-Paul Belmondo, respectively. And, if you haven't seen Breathless, just do yourself a favor. Godard's revolutionary debut. One negative that I would say about this film, yes, it is a Netflix original, brought down slightly, even though, nowadays it's normal for big directors like Linklater to work under the Netflix umbrella, but it's just, unfortunate that such an authentic homage to the French New Wave, which Linklater cited to be like the midpoint of film history, where we stand in 2026. It's just the Netflix thing brings it down, I think. I watched this in the same 24-hour span as Breathless. And there's that same, spontaneity and passion for cinema. But, and the two films complement each other. If you didn't like Breathless, if you don't understand why Breathless is so celebrated, 67 years after his film, maybe watch Nouvelle Vague. Maybe you might understand why he was so daring at the time. It's also in conversation with Blue Moon, I think. There's a real, poetry in Linklater releasing those two movies in the same year, One about theater, one about cinema. Blue Moon feels very much more in touch with, being alive, and more importantly, mortality, and, losing things that you have. Nouvelle Vague is, just more present, more in the moment, because what's better than being self-aware than just enjoying life? And, there is that feeling in front of the camera and behind the camera in Nouvelle Vague. So very much inspires me as a director, not just at the same level that every Richard Linklater film does, but just seeing Godard work has really feels like it should inform any, aspiring filmmaker who watches it. References to Bogart throughout. There are references to Bogart in Breathless, but in this film you have Godard, who was, more experienced as a director rather than actor, really using one of the greats, Humphrey Bogart, as a reference point for okay, Jean-Paul Belmondo, you're a good actor. How about you emulate one of the great actors, and maybe you can give a good performance? And that's just such an interesting way to look at it. But that just speaks to how resourceful Godard was. Oh my God, I don't new waves just don't happen anymore. Why not? It really, nowadays, it doesn't feel like the medium's being pushed forward as much as it used to be, back in the day. Back in the day, sorry, I'm 18 years old. In the 60s, the time that this film documents does not, there's no echo. Because, the progression of cinema, there's not as much progression in cinema nowadays. It feels, the people in the film industry feel more concerned with preservation, which is fair enough, I think my main takeaway from this film is we as filmmakers should move the medium forward in a way that does not include AI. Just do that. And I know AI is the new technology now and the big thing of our lives right now. But, just break new ground in cinema without AI. It's what Godard would have wanted. And AI came, the AI that we know today came to the forefront months after Godard's death, So to wrap it up, because I'm on video, I can give Nouvelle Vague the proper rating that I want to, which is it's absolute cinema. All right, same as Blue Moon. I'd put it in my top 10 of 2025 right now, which I'm very happy with. Going into 2026 with two Richard Linklaters in your yearly top 10. That's good going. Outstanding adapted screenplay, one of the best of last year. And performances. Zoe Deutsch, one of the best female supporting performances last year. And this is a film that stands on its own, I think, really. Blue Moon and Nouvelle Vague, both of them, based on real stories, real people. But you have that connection between them and Linklater, or between them and the actors like Ethan Hawke, giving one of the best performances last year because of the way he emulated Lauren's heart. And I think that's a really important message about filmmaking, whether you're writing an original character or taking a real person from history like Jean-Luc Godard or Lorenz Harsh. There's nothing new about human emotion. I'm sorry to quote the holdovers, but Richard Linklater is really conscious of that, I think, because of the mix of, original screenplays, book adaptations, biopics that he's made throughout his life. There's no point in denying it now. He's just a filmmaker that inspires me and wows me every time. And I really wish more people saw him that way. I don't know why. I think it is important to hold on to the Linklaters that matter. you know, and this is one that matters. So thank you very much again to Ben and Jack for bringing me on. I will talk to you later.
Okay, I'm now going to be talking about Is This Thing On, directed by Bradley Cooper, starring Will Arnett and Laura Dern. I want to know quickly my thoughts with Bradley Cooper. I've only seen Maestro in this, and I'm going to be honest, I need to rewatch Maestro, but I think I do prefer Maestro for this, and I think Is This Thing On is one of the overrated films of 2025. So Is This Thing On is about Alex Novak, who's meant to be John Bishop, and we see how he became, you know, stand-up comedy while dealing with his wife, and just all that, like his personal life and then comedy. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't big into it. So what keeps this film from being really good for me is Will Arnett. Will Arnett does such a good performance in it, where he kind of keeps the film interesting. But I think personally, Will Arnett, the rest of the film is not as good. I find everyone else to be not that interesting. I didn't care for Laura Dern. I didn't care for Bradley Cooper's character. I didn't care for any of the side characters. I like how it's directed at times, but I found this film just kind of, what I would call is film festival bait, which is, as my show was called Oscar bait, which is, I'm not saying it isn't, it is, but I think this is kind of film festival bait. Like, I know it didn't play at TIFF, but like, a TIFF's People Choice Award bait or something. But you know what I'm saying. I think this is sort of trying to like appeal to more. I think because my show didn't appeal to old people, he's trying to appeal to younger people, and I don't think this is working either. I'm trying to think. I had not scripted this. I don't know how much to say really on it. I think the writing's fine. I think there's a segment in the film that did kind of. I don't think the film's that interesting. I find the film just a wee bit like just not interesting, and that's my main issue with it. Is like I just don't. Bradley Cooper does like really basic films. I don't think Bradley Cooper really has a style besides making films about boring people, and I just don't think Bradley Cooper's going to be a great director. And like I tried. I think my show's good, not great, but it's well made. And I think this is well made, but I don't. I have to say, one of those overrated films of 2025. And, yeah. Sorry this is really short. I, just with Benjamin, I can't really add much. And I didn't have much to say in the film in the first place. If you look at my Letterboxd and Movie Guy 11, it is just a log. I don't have much to say on Is This Thing On. So, yeah, my final rating is a 3 star.